Welcome, everybody. I hope you're fine. And today I have the honor to present you our successes, our work of the last few weeks, and what we are currently doing. So at the beginning, as always, the important note, just shut down your camera if you don't want to appear in the video. If you say something what is not meant for YouTube and the broader audience, just inform us so we can edit it out afterwards, because we want to share this video on YouTube for marketing purposes. My name is Niels. I'm part of the development team, and I will guide you through the first two sections of this review, which is the features and the preview. And in the last section, we are always happy if you have feedback, but in this meeting today, we will ask you for some input, and I will hand over to my colleague and our product manager, Cindy. She has some thoughts to share with you, and we are happy to discuss some points. So let's start with the features. As most of you will know, we were working on the breakout board loading mechanisms, and especially in the last few weeks on doing the dependencies working again. And we finished that. This feature is now feature complete and currently in the process of reviewing with quality assurance. And we hope that this will be part of our next version, 367. I don't know exactly if we can do this in the next 2 weeks, but we hope to end it in the sprint. 3 weeks. We will try everything, but maybe it will go ahead a bit further. While doing this feature, while coding on this, we identified 2 bugs. They were released when the feature is released, but and not singular. So, but I will show it to you. We had a bug on the art planning board. There was a warning triangle rest after deleting a dependency, and now it's accurate, showing no warning triangle when you delete dependencies on the art PI roadmap. I will not go further into this. It was a very special situation. You can read it if you had problems with that. You already know it, but now this will be fixed. A second bug we had in the past were the number in the dependency marker on the team breakout board. As you can see on the picture, this issue here has 2 dependencies, but the marker just only showed the number 1. One of these dependencies was not counted correctly, but this is now also fixed and will be released and as part of the breakout board bigger feature. The other big feature we were working on in the last weeks and months was the recalculation of properties. You may already know that we tried a different approach here, not recalculating all properties for the whole Agile Hive objects, and instead we do this now for on level, on arts, on solutions, and for portfolio level. And this last portfolio part of this bigger recalculation feature is already now in the review process. Yeah, and we also hope to finish it in this current sprint. We try to. And beside these two bigger features and already longer running features, we have started a new feature here in the last sprint. Create planning intervals for entire solutions. Yeah, it was the first story I think we did here, and this is already still in the pull request, and yeah, we are working on it. So we are close, not at the end, but on the finishing line for this whole PI. We have the current sprint finishing bigger features, and then there's one remaining sprint. And you can see here our status quo of the features we did in our PI, and for the recalculate properties for project and PI, you can see that we are here and we have only this last point remaining. The loading performance of the breakout board is, or as just said, is the integration of the whole feature into the current code base. And yeah, as I mentioned, we started already with the create PIs for entire solution and hope that we can finish the last two open points in the current and coming sprint. So in the current sprint, we are also doing this shared service teams on breakout board feature. And we want to evaluate the next Jira platform, not integrate, just evaluate, because we expect that there will be a lot of technical changes and some more work to do. So we want to identify the steps when it will then probably arrive in at the end of the year, in the second half. Okay. Then these points are already known, and I will hand over to my colleague Cindy.
Thanks, Niels. Hey guys, everybody, thanks for joining. I just want to say a bit about shared services. I've been creating some video vignettes for the data center version, and we have a short one that's equivalent to our demo of shared services, but I also have used shared services in my video vignette on risk management, and we're very excited about getting these videos available to you very soon. We can get them to you individually if you reach out to me or us. And in the meantime, our colleague Feline on the call is getting those packaged up into our YouTube channel, and we'll be making them available once a week through LinkedIn. But if you want to know more about those, The videos are about different topics in Agile Hive. So it starts with an overview of Agile Hive Data Center and then goes into each segment of how you would use it, like setting up your structure or setting up PIs. Okay, so I want to make sure you capture Christian's contact information for me. And yeah, we're very excited about these. I, as a SAFe expert, have made sure that some of these topics, like how to do PI, objectives, it's not just what are the gestures in Agile Hive Data Center, but how do you do this effectively? So we would love to get them to you. Oh, awesome, Feline. Thank you. That she's published the first one today. So appreciate the collaboration between our development team who got these shared services available and our go-to-market team, Feline, for getting these published. So we're excited about that. Now, there are two topics that we wanted to talk about, epics on every level. So of course our development team says, oh, what is that going to mean? And there are different views like you see here. But I wanted to do a little bit more analysis on how you would use those. So I'm going to take over sharing from Nils. Thank you. And I put together a concept document that you can see here. Hopefully, let me make that bigger. Okay, and we can make this available to you as well in PDF format. So when I'm analyzing, doing some of this continuous exploration for topics for the development teams, I always want to look at SAFe and what SAFe says about this. And I have some links here. But I also hearken back to the ways that I've helped consult with companies. Epics are interesting because it's a big piece of work. SAFe says it's a significant solution development initiative. So, you know, what is significant to you is something you may determine. Do you need a lean business case? Do you need an MVP? Do you need portfolio management funding? All of these are things that may be specific to your organization and your kind of solution. So I have that information in here. I want to, let me go here. So in general, I always coach that if you have a large initiative and you don't know yet, is it going to fit into a time box? For example, is it one planning interval for your large solution? Or maybe you're just using Essential Safe for your one art. Will it fit into PIs? Maybe you don't know yet. And that's okay, because you often want to have these things identified in the backlog and on the roadmap. If this thing is not yet time boxed, this piece of work, we yearn to call it an epic. And SAFe kind of dances around this idea of, oh, it's not yet time boxed, it's just a big initiative, right? So if you have decomposed it and you know, for instance, in your art, you know that this is a big initiative or effort, and I know that I want to decompose it into some features in one PI for an MVP, and I want to learn from that before I determine the next steps in the next PI. We want to be able to support that usage model. If you know that it will break down to a set of features, but these features are related to the big initiative, you want to be able to have that tracing. So I put together this table, which I hope helps you envision the time-boxed elements, the way that SAFe describes them. And those are in blue. Those are the things, of course, Agile Hive has always allowed you to connect together across the levels with the parent-child relationship. So what we need your collaboration on is, how exactly do you want to use the epics at any level? So I have a couple of ideas here based on my experience with SAFe customers. And the first one is, we have a large initiative or effort across the portfolio. So it requires analysis, lean business case, and funding. But we want to decompose it into work to be implemented by one or more large solutions or arts in the organization. But it may be something that's down the road on the roadmap, and one art may know what it takes for them to do their part, but another art isn't there yet in their planning. So we do want to be able to decompose the work from a portfolio epic to a large solution epic, and maybe down to art or even a team epic, right? But we don't know yet if they'll fit into the time boxes of planning intervals, and at the team level, the iterations or sprints. So the question here with this scenario is, should there be links between epics at different levels? And I have a graphical depiction here. I'll scroll down to it. And should there be any information rolled up to a higher level? If we haven't planned it down to the story points at the team level so that we can roll it up to the level, is there something else? Is there something else you would want? So here's my depiction of the decomposition of the epics without time boxes. Now, when we start to time box, are we going to time box everything, all of these epics, all at the same time? That it may not sequence that way in our planning, right? If different arts are actually in a different PI cadence, or if in depicted here, if the solution, large solution 1 is on a PI cadence, and so the related arts are on that cadence, but the other solution is on a different cadence, that's totally reasonable to think that in a large complex organization that could be the case. So once we start to time box the work, and I described this already, so here it is in writing, maybe we start with an MVP. Maybe the work can be completed in a PI in part of the, portfolio epic decomposition. So in addition to the existing parent-child links for time-boxed work and the roll-up that you apparently know and love today, right? Roll-up of those story points to the different levels and seeing, PI objectives at the different levels. In addition, should there be links between an epic and the decomposed time box work, which will be in my picture? Wait for it. What information would you want rolled up? So you can see that from our standpoint of building a tool to support you, it can get very complex. One of the things we pride ourselves in Agile Hive is that we help you manage your complexity, but do it in a super simple, intuitive way. So we need your input on, how would you like to see this idea of epics at every level, where they can be decomposed into time boxes, time boxed work? How would you like to see that linked, and the aggregation or roll up of work? So there could be links between epics, which we talked about in the last graphic. There can be links between the time box work at different levels, our current parent-child links. But there could be links between the non-time boxed epics and the related time boxed or decomposed into work within the same level. So for example, here's Art2 epic decomposed into Art2 feature, two, time box features. We can have further conversations after today, but I'm interested in your initial thoughts based on this.
Maybe this is a question. I can break the ice.
Yes, thank
Can you
you.
hear me? Yes. So I see what you're depicting here. It's great. I was more thinking along that if there is a large solution level or an art level, that you have an allowance for either one or two level in that level. So basically, you either allow that you just have art feature, or optionally you allow art epics and art feature. But you can, the art feature has to always be below the art epic, right? So that we basically in the solution you will have an option for one level or two level, but the rest behaves the same. And the same thing for art. You have art epics and team epics.
Okay, so what you're asking for is kind of like sub levels within.
Yeah, basically they roll up if you have them, but it behaves as today if you don't have them. If you choose to not have an additional second layer in your level, solution train or art train, then it would behave just like today.
Okay.
But the parent-child is given, right? You either allow two levels of parent-child or you only allow one level.
Okay, so you like the idea of still using the parent-child relationship, but using it as a sub-level within. Yeah, okay.
Now, it's helpful to allow only one parent, kind of to be restricted.
Still allow only one parent. Yeah. Okay, that makes perfect sense. And just my disclaimer, as you might guess, I cannot speak for the development team as to what is technically feasible or not. And, so our conversation here is exploration of your preferred usage model. So thank you for that. Who was that? I'm not looking at this.
From Julius Baer.
Okay. Thank you so much. Other thoughts? Someone raised a hand.
Hi, I'm Christian, and I'm supporting the Austrian Railways, and there was often the question about this feature, and we never went into details, so I just asked today what's the preferred way. But I think the initial thought was that, for example, if you just have an art, that you don't have to go to the portfolio level, you can just cluster your things into an art epic. And just do it because it doesn't need the process and everything from the portfolio level. So I guess based on the use case, they don't need anything above that art epic because it's just for the art. And
so it's just save art and teams. Yes.
I think it's also like in the documentation probably that it's not then connected to an portfolio epic, because I think for them also because Agile Hive wants to make it easy for the people, right? If they want to roll it up, then they could also use a portfolio epic already or a solution capability or something like that, right? Because then they have already an item on the upper level. Yeah. So I think the initial thoughts from our customers are that it's the top. So if you have an epic, that's the top. You don't need anything above it. Yeah. But they want to group it in the same level. So there should be art features under the epic, art epic. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Christian. Of course, if you're just, I'm using all 4 layers in my picture, but of course, if you're just using Essential Safe, what I heard you say is that if I just have art and team level, I want to use the art epic to show the large piece of work that my art features would support. You're also suggesting that if I did have a higher layer, you don't want to allow an epic to have a parent epic. Is that the case? Well,
Yes.
what you're
Yes, because some of them also have the portfolio level, but they still want to have the epics on the art level as well. But then I think it's not needed to aggregate them in any way.
Okay, but is there a reason to restrict people to not have a parent
No.
epic?
I think if they would use it, it's also okay. Yeah.
Okay, good, but they don't have to, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Peter.
I recall I've been working with a consultancy that has been consulting a large customer of ours from the engineering, where they are building obviously very large solutions. And I recall that one of their main arguments was that they want to foster decentralized decision-making, knowing that they have large initiatives that can be, technically be done in one art, but span a long time period, way more than one PI, and quite fuzzy in its definition so far, to be decomposed into features, but owned by the art, not meeting the portfolio threshold, and that they really wanted the arts to take ownership of these epics, yet have these epics roll up into larger initiatives like portfolio epics, for example, because they are connected. That was a bit of their concern or their requirement, so that you have these large initiatives to be tracked on art level, especially art level in this case, but probably also like you depicted here on any level. So they can really make sure that they're being owned where they belong, where the information is.
Okay. Thanks for that insight from your work with that consultancy. Jano?
Thank you very much. I'm just going to lower the. Okay. I hope I don't hear myself twice anymore. I think what a 2-level approach on any of these levels, or like hierarchy levels, would be great is for us. It was a big change to move all the epics from the team level to the art level. And I think a great thing about this would be regarding permissions, because we had trouble replicating all the permissions that we had on the team level, on the art level, but then on the art, you already obviously have other teams as well working on the same art. So we had to make a decision when it comes to permissions, so that, yeah, certain epics were not edited or changed by another team that has no stake in them. So yeah, that's just my 2 cents. I would really like to see the possibility to have 2 hierarchy levels on any of the, for example, team level or the art level. Be great.
So you want to see the 2 levels. You're reinforcing that earlier comment, and you want to be able to set permissions per epic?
No. I was just saying in Jira, you can set permissions per project, right? And if I had 2 hierarchy levels, for example, on the team level, that would make it easier for permissions just to be set for this specific team, rather than setting it for a team and also an art, because in the art there's also going to be other teams being part of that art. So we had this problem that we needed to set permissions on the team level and then also on the art level. This would maybe not eliminate this problem, but make it a little bit less, yeah, a bit smaller, I'd say.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that input. That's incredibly valuable. Who else has a question or a comment? Okay, so I discussed this with Michel briefly. He's not available for this session, but we will have the recording and we will give the feedback to the team. And as always, the team will analyze the potential for implementing these ideas that you've provided compared to the technical constraints that they are working under. Okay, I'll stop sharing this now, but the next topic, Niels, if you want to bring back up the document you had.
Moment, here it is.
Thank you. And then creating the PI in the solution level, I wanted to describe the way that we do this in Agile Hive Cloud. In Agile Hive Cloud, when you have a large solution that is a parent of multiple arts, or it's connected through the hierarchy, you set the PI dates, the PI start and end dates at the large solution level, and then the arts will create their own iterations within those dates. One challenge or question on the Agile Hive data center level is whether we should allow the arts to diverge from those PI start and end dates within some, we'll call it a tolerance. So within a few days, a week, something like that. And we need to know, one, should it be possible for them, the arts, to be, close, if not exact to those PI dates? And then what would you consider that tolerance to be, like within the same cadence? Does anyone want to comment here?
This is Christian again from Julius there. I think for us, we have multiple arts, and we're struggling that every art starts exactly on the same 1 or 2 days. So for us, I think with the tolerance would be a week. I would say week to maximum maybe 10 days, so that we have some allowance to the logistics of all the PI plannings.
Sure. Sure.
But I think to have a top-down aspiration to have the same naming conventions and the same start and end dates, I think that is very valuable. But we have to give the individual arts some tolerance to arrange, especially since we also have offshore time zones that we have to cover. So I think we need some tolerance. I would say 7 days, 10 days, something like that.
Yes, I know. Even with the Zyber group in Wiesbaden, we have some constraints around the facilities, right? Where we can schedule work. So
yeah, I mean, today is 24 hours, and it's just not working yet for us.
Right. Okay, Christian, thank you for that. And then would we want to make that tolerance something you can configure, or should Agile Hive just say our tolerance is a week, something like that?
I would go for a week and then maybe see how the market responds, feedback, maybe make it then configurable plus minus a few days. I don't know.
Yes. Thank you, Christian Pascher. Configurable is always better. It's always better from your standpoint. It's always tougher from development's standpoint. So I hear you on that. So thank you for that input. So should changes made to the PI on the solution level be propagated down to the individual arts? if they adapted their PI with these changes, override their changes. You know, I believe that once a PI is started, you should not make adjustments, but maybe this is speaking about future PIs. What are your thoughts on the ability to adjust PI dates and when? Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't have to speak up today, but we're always here listening for you and your feedback. Was someone about to speak?
I was just thinking, I think, as you said, if a PI is committed, then I probably will not change anything on that.
Right. I think, yes, once PI planning, certainly, once PI planning has started, I think it needs to be. We don't want to tempt people with this idea that they can just move the end date. That violates some of our fundamental time boxing principles of scaling Agile. Yes, Peter.
I think that's what I heard from customers before in the last years is always a thin line between having things configurable to, for example, be able to make mistakes and not have to rework a whole lot. But then, of course, if you have it configurable, it might be more of a habit to configure things and not have them standardized, doing what you just said, getting in conflict with more, with processes that should be a certain way, where I also hear customers saying, well, we're happy that Agile Hive doesn't support too much configuration, because then we can, it's easier for us as Agile coaches, for example, to enforce alignment, to make it easier for the organization to, think in a more aligned way.
Yes, yes. Good. Thank you for that reinforcement of that concept, Peter. I just, I always think of real world analogies, and I kind of thought, what if I'm running a marathon and I want to call up the people running the race and say, you know what, I'm really tired. Why don't you just move the finish line in a little, right? So we have to be careful about, reinforcing the discipline that we want. So thank you, Peter. Niels, I think I've covered those topics to the level we had to today. So I'll hand it back to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Cindy. And thank you very much for your input, all. This will be discussed further on. And as Cindy mentioned, you're welcome to give further input to us on this. Maybe you have to sleep one night over it. So for me, the last thing to say is please rate us, Agile Hive, on the Atlassian Marketplace, on LinkedIn. Give feedback. More, I think, standardized way about a support request. I think we do not have a special email address for that, or
they can send it. Yeah. They can send it directly to me as well. As product manager, I always love this kind of input because I help provide that to both our data center and cloud teams.
Let's do this. Or the backup is support request.
Support is always a good mechanism for sure.
So reach out if you have anything for us. We are very happy about this. So thanks again, you all, and I just wish you a pleasant day and close this meeting for today. And we will see us hopefully next month on the 2nd of July.